Hi, folks. This is also my first WiCyS, and my heart is full, like exploding, from just seeing all of the people that I've met today and seeing all of the people who have showed up at our booth at Optum and my amazing posse here. So I want to talk to you about a personal hero of mine. And when I look at the people in the audience, I realize that it's possible that many of you have never heard of this person. Her name is Mary Tyler Moore, and she was the co-star of a show called The Dick Van Dyke Show. Of course, Dick Van Dyke, they named the show after the guy, right? So Mary did this really interesting thing. She was famous, she was well-loved, and she used her fame as an opportunity to push equality for women just a little bit further. She insisted on wearing pants on the show. Now, the directors and the producers, and most importantly, the advertisers, were really upset about this because it was bucking the norms of the time. But Mary was famous, and there's a little bit of like, what are you gonna do? So they said, okay, Mary, you can wear pants on one scene in every episode. She said, I mean, when I'm vacuuming my own carpet in my own house, I'm usually not wearing a frilly dress and heels. So this is her quote, but within a few weeks, we were sneaking them into a few other scenes in every episode. This is at a time when women did not wear pants in public. I talked to my mom about this, and she said, yeah, in the 60s, when I was going to high school and when I had my first job, I only wore pants and I only wore skirts and dresses. But by the 70s, when I had my real job, I was wearing mini skirts and pants. This is a picture of my grandmother. The picture doesn't have a date on it, but I can tell you that it's in the 70s and not in the 60s because she's wearing pants. So first, let's all take a minute to appreciate the fact that we can wear pants whenever we want to. And I'm wearing capri pants in honor of Mary Tyler Moore because this is what she was allowed to wear on the show. But how did that change? It changed because people like Mary Tyler Moore made small steps to push things in the right direction. And then finally a tipping point happens. And that's what I want to talk to you about today. The moment that we're in right now is unique. It's a moment that women and non-binary people and people of color have been working toward for a really long time. And at the risk of being cynical, it's possible that this window will close. So it seems prudent to me that we should do everything we can to take advantage of it while it's here in order that we not let it close. Consider the current environment, which you've now heard probably 3 or 4 times from different speakers. There's a shortage of technology talent that's leading to many unfilled global roles. At the same time, every company in the world is struggling to hire a diverse workforce. A diverse workforce like everyone in this room. So how can you take advantage of this environment to advance your career? Women apply for fewer roles than men do, apply for less ambitious roles than men do, and they undersell themselves regularly. And today, what I want to talk about are some of the things, some of the reasons, some of the fears that I think are holding us back. And the first one I'm going to start with is the fear of getting fired. Now, I know that some of you are still looking for your first job, but if you're not looking for your first job, you're probably thinking, well, I have to do exactly what my boss is asking me to do because otherwise I might get fired and I don't want to get fired. So there's at least somebody in this room who's got that fear, so let's just talk about it. Let's assume, for the sake of argument, that you got fired today. By the way, that's a thing that happens extremely rarely compared to how often we talk about it. But you could have a potentially better job within a month. A recent study showed that 91% of people who ended up getting fired ended up finding a new position that was as good as or better than their last. But they weren't in the same situation that we're in, where there's 3.5 million cybersecurity jobs open. So in our current environment, as desirable women in a desirable career, we're like unicorns, every single one of you. Every one of you is desirable. So I loved what one of the previous speakers said. It was the woman this morning, I'm sorry, I don't remember her name. She said, stick to your principles, value your principles, because there's always another job out there. And here's another interesting study. There's evidence that getting fired can actually make you a stronger professional moving forward. When this study looked at job interview performance, they discovered that those who had some sort of serious issue like getting fired actually were slightly more likely to be recommended to get the job, not less likely. Well, that's interesting. And as I said, with all these unfilled cybersecurity jobs globally, surely one of them has your name on it, right? I mean, wow. So if it's not fear of getting fired, we shouldn't probably be worried about that. Maybe let's talk about imposter syndrome. Imposter syndrome is when you doubt your abilities and you feel like a fraud. Does anybody else in here besides me know what that feels like? I see a lot of hands. I'm going to make you feel better in one sentence. Imposter syndrome disproportionately affects high-achieving people. So if you're feeling like you're having difficulty accepting your accomplishments or you're feeling like a fraud, the chances are that means you're a high-performing individual. I don't know about you, but that makes me feel better about my imposter syndrome when I have it. And here's another funny thing. Here's Tina Fey. And my favorite is Maya Angelou. After her 11th book, she said, uh-oh, they're going to find out now. I run a game on everybody. Her 11th book. So you're in good company. This is what I'm saying. You're probably a high performer. I want to tell a story, and that's that I'm brand new to the role of CISO. I'm 54 years old. I was 53 when I got the job. And it's a pivot that is a rare pivot at my age and at this point in my career. So there are some folks on my own team who said, well, she came from the role of CIO, not CISO, so I think she doesn't know enough about firewalls or malware or insert whatever their favorite topic in cyber is right here. And I said, you know what? You are absolutely right. I have a whole bunch of other skills I bring to the table, and I think they're really important, especially for this team right now. But there are also places where I'm weak. So I've asked one of my smart, strong leaders to teach me every week for the next 6 months so that I can continue to learn. Because it's funny, when I was a CIO, I would always take a new position in a different company and nobody said, well, you can't really take the CIO role because you worked on Java over there and we work on some other .NET over here. They would never say that to a CIO. But for a CISO, somehow, the fact that I don't understand every single software package we're using in a Fortune 5 company is a problem. But the point is, that's the sort of thing that would make one have imposter syndrome. And the way to deal with that is to lean into it. Don't escape from it. Because let me tell you, if I tried to fake it with my amazing team of people, they would know that. And that's not a good look. So when you're feeling imposter syndrome, lay it aside Be open, honest, and vulnerable, and see what happens. I want to bring up scientists and athletes who thrive on failure. Every scientist in the world is doing experiments, waiting for something to fail so that they can learn and then modify their hypothesis. And athletes train and fail and try again and train. A few mistakes don't reveal that you're not qualified. A few mistakes reveal that you're human. So owning your mistakes and being honest about them will give you more credibility, because people know if you're honest about the little stuff, you'll be honest about the big stuff. Okay, so hopefully I've covered fear of getting fired and I've covered imposter syndrome. Let's talk about this whole I don't feel empowered thing. I'm going to start with one of my favorite quotes. This is Daniel Pink. The notion of empowerment presumes that the organization has the power and benevolently ladles some of it into the waiting bowls of grateful employees. That's just a slightly more civilized form of control. Who should be responsible for empowering you? I know many leaders who are eagerly waiting for their own folks to take a larger role, to stop asking for permission, to lean in and contribute at a higher level than just getting the job done. Think of it this way. If the boss has to empower you, then the boss can unempower you. How powerful is that? So what do? If you put yourself in the shoes of either your leader or a peer of your leader, or really any other person in your organization, I don't care if they're 2 or 3 levels above you, if you have an opportunity to observe them, try to put on, I call it the onesie, put on the onesie of that person and see if you can feel what it feels like to be that person. What is she thinking about? How does she see the world? What information does she need to do her job? When you do that, you get a new perspective and you start automatically thinking more strategically. You stop thinking about getting the job done that I have to get done right here, and you start thinking about what is my leader looking for. Thinking like a boss is a great habit to get into, and it can really have an impact on your ability to rise throughout the company faster. Okay. Fear of getting fired, imposter syndrome, not feeling empowered. The other one I hear a lot is, I'm super overworked. How will I ever have time to advance? This is a nice book, but I really like this quote. I like how it just offers you the opportunity. It teaches you a way to say no. Can you help with the Girl Scout fundraiser? You know, I believe in what you're doing, but right now I simply don't have time to help. I can give a donation, but I can't be on the team that plans the fundraiser. I'm going to have to say no. And my suspicion is that many of you could do this at work too, but you're so busy collecting every piece of work that comes over the transom that you don't have time to sift through that work and figure out which of it is the work where you should be applying yourself. I think people forget, and I've actually seen several people say this too, and I love this, that everything about cybersecurity is a team sport, including the work that you do with your own peers. And that's important because I know that modern review systems pit us against each other for our annual raises. But I want you to understand something. If you and your team are performing better than any other team that you're rated against, the whole team will rise up. And everyone will see the difference. So here's an idea. If you're overworked, why don't you talk to one of your other team members and say, you know, we're both in the same meeting all the time. How about you take this one and I'll take this other one over here, and we'll trust each other and we'll communicate about it, and that way we can each get an hour back in our day that we wouldn't have had otherwise. And one of the things I love about being in cybersecurity is the collaboration. As a CIO, which I was in June, I can't just call a competitor and say, hey, I'm thinking about my cloud strategy, like, what do you think? Because that would be considered anti-competitive. But as a CISO, I can absolutely call any CISO in the country, whether they're in my industry or not in my industry, and we can have a whole conversation about how we're fighting the bad guys. This is the way we should be working as a team. It's expected. We should be working together, and that should help to clear up our schedule a little bit. Look, I get it. We all have work that we have to do that we don't want to do. But this is about finding the balance so that you don't habitually do whatever is in front of you, rather than being thoughtful about what work really deserves your attention. I suspect that any one of you who's feeling overworked could go back to your calendar and look at it for the next few weeks and find another couple of hours by deciding that just because you're not doing anything else at the time that that meeting was scheduled doesn't mean you have to go to that meeting. So see if you can't clear yourself a little bit of space, because then that'll allow you to think like a boss. I saved the best for last, because I suspect that there's a big elephant in the room that, well, I don't know who's going to talk about this one, so you know me, I'm going to just tread where angels fear to tread. In 2019, KPMG did a leadership study called Risk, Resilience, Reward. And what they learned was that 70% of women are open to taking small risks to further their career. But only 40% of women are open to taking the bigger risks that are associated with career advancement. You know, when I was writing this talk, I had this little hand-raising exercise that was planned where I wanted to say, who's looking for a new job? Okay, of those of you who are looking for a new job, who's got an active resume? Because I do this at work when people say, Aimee, I really want you to mentor me in career advancement. And I say, well, show me your resume. And they go, does it look like the dog who, you know, made an accident somewhere? Well, wait, so you want career advancement, but you don't have a resume? Well, right, because I'm just waiting for somebody to kind of tap me on the shoulder and tell me that it's time for a promotion. That's one way to do it. Maybe it'll work. In the same study, 86% of the respondents admitted that when they had failed at something in the past at work, it made them more cautious about how they did things in the future. Remember what I was just saying about scientists and athletes, right? They need that failure data in order to continue to evolve their hypothesis. But for some reason, 86% of women are saying, yeah, I screwed up, so I took a step back. When you screw up, take a step forward. You didn't just fail, you learned something. We had a little discussion the other day. Okay, what if, you know, CISOs get fired, right? Bad things happen, they need to take it out on somebody, they fire the CISO, that's cool. But if you were hiring a CISO, would you rather have a CISO that had never had an incident, or would you rather have a CISO that got fired because they had an incident? I'm thinking that what they learned from having the incident is actually kind of useful. And that if you've got somebody who's completely untested, maybe it's because they're awesome, or maybe it's because they're lucky. And you won't actually know until the thing happens to you, right? There's no industry that's more important for us to be transparent than in cybersecurity. And if you're failing it and then becoming more cautious, it starts this vicious cycle where you're just stepping back and stepping back. Where does that end? I'm going to offer you a couple of quick hits. The first is, I know we're all sick of Zoom or WebEx or Teams or whatever it is that you're using at your company. But please try to turn your camera on. It's hard. You didn't shower this morning. You're still in your running clothes. You know what's cool? You can be just like Mary Tyler Moores and make it okay to be wearing your running clothes while you're at work, because they shouldn't care what's on your body. What they care about is what's in your brain. It doesn't matter whether you curled your hair today. It doesn't matter whether you put makeup on today. What matters is that you're showing up. And we want to see you show up. I can guarantee you, if you're looking for bigger roles at work and you're never turning your camera on, in these times right now, it's going to slow down your career advancement. So be brave, come as you are, and turn your camera on. You also have to kind of make a conscious effort to ask for what you want. Those folks who are coming to me who are asking for career advice and don't have a resume, the second question I ask them is, well, have you told your leader what you're looking for? Well, oh God, no. Do you not trust your leader? No, I think they're okay. Well, do they not know that you want to go in this whole new field? I mean, it's possible that they could give you more opportunities. If you don't let other people know what you're looking for, they can't help you get there. And it's not just your mentor, it's everybody. Hey, you know what? I love this job, but I would really like my next job to be X. Do you have any advice for me on how to get there? Super easy, doesn't make anybody feel like you're going to quit. The more risks you can successfully navigate, the more confident you become. And now instead of stepping backwards, you're stepping forwards. And that's a virtuous cycle instead of a vicious cycle. The most successful people will tell you that at some point in their careers, they thought they were going to fail. Not because they didn't feel like they had enough confidence in themselves, but because they had risked everything. If you don't succeed the first time you try something, then it was a great opportunity for you to learn and grow. And that will help you be more successful next time. And here's Ariana helping us with a little advice. Failure is not the opposite of success. It is part of success. So I really want you to think about embracing that failure. This moment, right now, the air is fresh with the energy of change. We're all gathered here together in spite of a global pandemic. Each one of you represents the future. And together, if each one of us is doing a tiny little Mary Tyler Moore thing, we become a giant force for change. So find a way to get closer to what you want. Don't let your male colleagues take new roles and be like, oh, well, of course he got it. You don't want to regret the chance that you didn't take, the role that you kind of let slip. Oh, I didn't have time to get my resume together. Let's not let that role get away. Let's fill the ranks of cybersecurity leadership with the people in this room. Imagine if every single one of you got promoted tomorrow. I think I'm going to cry, actually. So let's use this powerful force of women to change the face of our workplaces, to lift each other up, and to build the fulfilling roles that we all want. Thanks for listening.